All right, welcome back to Blue by 90. I'm Justin, joined by Jack and Kalen as always. We are presented by Amazing Brew, and we're into February now, which is crazy. January just flew by. The big news here is Jack is a lobster.
Look at all that sun, boys.
Look
at that.
The best part, though, that you sent the picture to us last night. And
I was so pissed.
Your head, only your forehead is burnt, and then where you actually do grow some hair is completely white.
It's BS. Only reason I came down here was to get that part of my head tan. And that's the only one that didn't tan. I'm like, what's going on here? I want a refund.
Oh, my God. So you're on vacation still, heading back up. Where are you at?
We're in Fort Myers Beach. So the in-laws, they have a condo down here. So we're down here. We got down here Thursday morning and have been basically nonstop drinking. So today I'm feeling a little bit rough, but I know earlier before we started recording, I said I was probably going to have to take a break, but we'll probably pick it up early afternoon before we get on the flight.
Keep it rolling. That's how you always end a vacation, just like that. You're just like, keep drinking until you head to the airport, and then it's like a future you problem. This
right.
Me being 10 pounds more than when I left here. That's future me.
Oh man, tomorrow's gonna be a long day. I tell you that. I open at Orange Theory, so I'll be getting up. We don't get in. We'll probably get home at like 10 o'clock. I got to be up at like 3:30, 4 o'clock. Then we have like meetings all afternoon. Like I'm gonna crash tomorrow night.
Yikes. Well, it's a good thing too. You're really good at flying. Like you're really comfortable on the plane, so that'll be a really good experience for you too. You can get a good cat nap in.
The way down was actually not too bad, so I'm hoping for good things on the way back.
There you go. Have you just been playing like shuffleboard with the old people there, or what?
I wish, man. I haven't even seen a shuffleboard thing. So they moved into a new condo. The old one they were at, a couple places down, they used to have shuffleboard. So I'd be hanging out with my old friends and put my New Balance ons and my mid-calf, my white Hanes mid-calf socks, and have my shirt all tucked in real nice, but not yet. Just a lot of beach bars and booty shaking contests and seafood.
That doesn't sound bad.
No.
It's a great time. Time.
It's better than it's being negative degrees up here and 7 inches of snow. So
yeah. Not excited to get back to that.
No. We did have some Michigan hoops this weekend. So I thought the team played pretty well. That's a tough place to play, obviously, going to Mackey, and that's a top 5 team right now. They are very good, Purdue is, but honestly, it was a close game throughout the entire game. Like it was, down to the last couple minutes.
Yeah, I was shocked at how well Michigan hung around in that game and whatnot. And what I love most of all was when Jace Howard, he was getting some early minutes for him. I mean, he was getting some legit minutes, it seemed like, and he just brings such a good spark of energy to that team. I hope he kind of gets some more minutes than he's been getting previously.
Yeah, they just seemed like competitive that whole game. Like even though they were down a few times, like, by more than like 5, they still were like in the game, and they would come back and make it like close, So yeah. I think that's actually says a lot about this team kind of going forward.
I definitely agree with that. There were times where Purdue would go on a 7-0 or 9-0 run or something like that.
That's what killed us. Yeah.
I was like in those moments, I'm like, all right, this is where they cash it in and Purdue wins this game by 16 points. But Michigan kept in it, which I thought was something we've only seen in like a couple games this year. So I agree with you, Kalen. I was pretty excited to see that. I mean, the problem is that we're at the point of the season here where you can't have any moral victories for Michigan. You're looking for W's on the resume. So that's where it's tough. But, I loved what Jace Howard brought to the table. I loved what a lot of people did yesterday. I mean, you look at Hunter Dickinson, he's a monster, an absolute monster. He can't be stopped right now. I think it was 3 straight games now of 25 points or more. He had 28 yesterday.
That's insane. And he's shooting I can't remember who put it up on Twitter, but I think they said his field goal percentage is like 60 or something percent. 3-point field goal percentage is over 50%. And yeah, he's scoring a bunch of points. So 28, dude. I didn't realize he had that many points. He has been a monster recently.
I think there's a little bit of an issue there, though, when kind of like one guy seems to carry your entire team a little bit.
Yes.
But he definitely went nuts. Yeah, he was 2 for 3 on threes and 12 for 17 overall. Like, that's
Got to feed the hot hand, though.
Should have been 3 for 4 for threes because I think he had a toe on the line for one of them. So that was counted as a 2. But I agree with you. It's like I love Hunter because he does all this stuff, but it's like when we don't go to Hunter, nobody else knows what to do. And so it's really been tough to have it be like a team production. And especially, I think we saw it not in the Purdue game, but the Nebraska game before that. Hunter got in foul trouble in the first half and sat for like 10 straight minutes. Michigan didn't know what to do. They went in a lull and had no idea what was going on. So I agree with you, Kailen. It's like it's one of those things where it goes with, Hunter, and when he's hot, they're going to play well. But if he's not, then what do? There's nobody that's been the go-to.
Yeah, I mean, Caleb's kind of stepped up a little bit too recently, which has been great. Last game, wasn't as good as the previous games where, he was shooting, seemed like 50% from 3. Not that he went 2 for 6. You can't expect perfection every time, but Devontae Jones had 13. He played pretty well, I thought, yesterday, looking at his stats. He had 3 turnovers, but I thought Devontae Jones been playing well recently. Eli Brooks has scored a little bit more. I think Musa only having 2 points is what really hurt Michigan.
But they didn't go to it much. Like that was I thought the reason, like they didn't have to because Hunter never came off the floor, it seemed like. Yeah,
I don't know. I remember Musa taking a deep 2. It seemed like an ugly shot. Sometimes he can hit those long shots, but his shot is ugly.
He doesn't need to.
He doesn't need to, but he still does. And I'm like, I don't know if I like watching Musa do that. Yeah. But he was 1 from 4, and everybody shot pretty well outside of Musa, I'd say.
I feel like that's kind of strange. He was kind of the worst shooter for the day, which I'm like, wait, what? I feel like he's a big guy. He should be down in the post, right? Getting some points, some easy points. But he's 1 for 4, so I don't know.
You got to think about who he's going up against at Purdue. Zacky's 8 feet tall.
They got a dynamic duo back there.
Yeah, like
wasn't Trayvon Williams or Travion Williams? Wasn't he the starter last year?
Yeah, he's like
so he and Edie like flip flops. Yeah, that's wild.
Edie just finally like became athletic. I think he grew his body at 22.
Started lifting a little bit. Got a fresh haircut.
Yeah. But I liked what I saw. I don't know. I would be as much as it's been difficult to watch Michigan this year, I would be not wanting to see them down the road if you're in the Big Ten tournament or whatever. Because they can turn it on for sure. It's amazing when you shoot well, you score points, and then you can be competitive. This is really interesting stuff here.
Hard hitting stats and facts here that provided by Blue by 90.
Yeah.
Well, here's one thing that actually we did get outperformed. To me, it seems significant is the offensive rebound. And like you said, they got huge guys at Purdue, but you only have 3 offensive rebounds all game. It's like, it's going to be tough. So and we have 11.
Yeah, I also thought that there were moments where, all right, down by 4, like they've got a shot, and then we'd fumble the ball out of bounds, or like they would, there was one time when Devontae made a perfect pass to Hunter right underneath the basket, and then Hunter just it just went through his hands. So they had their shots. I mean, we're being nitpicky now, but those are the times when if you want to, get over the hump to be a good team, you definitely need to make those plays. So I don't know. I thought it was good strides, but like I said in the beginning, strides are, this isn't preseason. They're not playing non-conference basketball right now. You're in the stretch of the conference schedule. And so, they need to put up W's if they want to be a tournament team.
Yeah. I mean, do you take a moral victory from this, though, with Purdue being the best? I guess Purdue's not even – is Purdue number one in the Big Ten right now? They're leading the Big Ten?
I think they're up there. I don't know. I mean, I think there's a three-way tie or something, but they're the highest-ranked team in the Big Ten for sure.
Right. I mean, do you take a moral victory for them playing so close?
Yeah. Our moral
just with how the season's going?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, Illinois is at 10-2 and Purdue's at 9-3. So, I mean, I think there's a moral victory there that just they looked like a basketball team, right? Where we haven't looked like one. So, how many times? How late in the season can we say, "Oh, that's a long season"? I feel like we've said that for the past 3 weeks now, and it's oh wait, they only have 6 games left.
I know that's a good point. When do we have to cut that off? I'll say mid-February. Mid-February is when I'll start when I'll let go of that.
This is one of those weird games where if you looked at the box score, you'd be like, "Oh, okay, they shot better than the other team." Hey, everything looks pretty good. How did they lose that game, right?
Mm-hmm. It's just Purdue being, having so much talent and going on those runs.
I mean, they seriously Purdue should probably be the national title favorite or close to it. Gonzaga's probably going to be up there too, but I mean, this Purdue team should be a Final Four team. Will they be? Probably not, because Purdue has choked it away every year, even with Carson Edwards. But this team is better than the Carson Edwards team, I think. They're more well-rounded, in my opinion. And, the thing is, when you get into March in the tournament time, if you have big guys and can rebound and play defense, you're going to go far, because name any team in the country that has the size to go up against Travion Williams and Zach Edey. I don't think there's a team out there.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't seen much of Auburn or, a whole lot of other teams, so I don't really know. But, I mean, Gonzaga with, I don't know, I guess Chet Holmgren's not really huge. He'd get bodied down there.
He's 7
I don't know.
210 pounds, I think.
Yeah, I mean, he's skin and bones.
He's like Kevin Durant, yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know how he would do matched up against those guys, but I mean, there's probably gonna be 2 All-Americans, running the 5 for them. So,
and the other guy I wanted to talk about too, Jaden Ivey is incredible. Oh my God, that kid's good. The couple moves that he made, the one layup where he went up, took 3 steps from the 3-point line and went up and around Hunter, who's 7'2". I was like, how did you get to the rim there?
Yeah, he had his arm just stretched all the way out. That one you're talking about? That layup? I was like, holy shit.
It looked like
Dr. J or something? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that kid, he's probably one and done. I think he's very, very talented.
I mean, so one thing I did want to talk about with, Jace Howard getting in the game. I mean, there's a noticeable difference in, the energy he brings on the floor compared to other guys. And that could just be because he's resting the majority of the game, whatever it might be. But when you see something like that, where, he's aggressive on defense, he's making good plays, and, he can bring that energy. Do you think he should be getting more minutes? There's little spurts here and there.
I wouldn't hate it. I mean, to me, honestly, I think he should probably get minutes before T. Will. I don't know.
Point, think so?
maybe that's a hot take. I think T. Will probably is more talented all around, but I agree with you. T. Will brings like zero energy to the game.
Really?
I don't know.
I feel like he's up there with. I mean, I think Jace is just. I think that's him. Like he knows, like I've got to be a high energy guy because, not to say he's not talented. He's definitely very, very talented, but he's probably the least talented player on this team. So he knows. I mean, again, among a very, very talented team, so he knows he's got to like bring that motor and bring the energy. I don't know. Maybe they just need to switch up their rotations a little bit. Like throw these guys in for a couple minutes, let the starters get some rest, and they come back in the game and just do little like. Almost like line changes in the NHL, like maybe they have different lines set up and put through. I don't know, just an idea, something to throw out there. But I think he should be getting maybe more than 5 minutes at this point.
Like he's like channeling like a Chandy Brown type. You put him in, he's just a high energy.
Yeah, I mean, might not be a big scorer, but just somebody to bring the energy up a little bit.
I'm not mad at that.
I mean, I don't know. See what happens with it.
I don't hate it. I mean, the thing is that like you look at like a Kobe Buffkin coming in. I think Kobe Buffkin will be very good. I just don't think his body is ready yet. He can't drive to the basket really much. He's super skinny, can't guard much. So when you're looking at a T. Will or a Kobe Buffkin, I think I would rather see Jace Howard in there. He might not be as talented. And can't like shoot as well or do that, but he's a big body. He's 6'7" for a 3 guard, and he's got some thickness on him now. And so I wouldn't mind seeing him because he can play some defense. I don't think Kobe Buffkin plays defense. I like Kobe Buffkin a lot, but he's super lanky and he's a freshman. It's just what it is.
Yeah, I agree with you on Kobe Buffkin. I think he's gonna be really good eventually. Like give him next year. He might have like a Franz Wagner type glow up, but just he's not there right now. So I would definitely like to see Jace over him. I would definitely like to see Jace over Brandon Johns, unless he can start playing consistently, and we know what we're gonna get out of him.
Kobe Buffkin, 6'4", 175.
Who's that?
Kobe Buffkin.
175. Oh my God. That was like me. That was like me as a senior in high school, which was
right.
I would not want myself playing in the Big Ten.
No.
Let me tell you that. I mean, part of that was because I can't shoot or dribble or pass or
play basketball at all.
Or anything. That's besides the point. Yeah, I mean listen, this team's it is talented. They're probably going to be good down the stretch and good in the future. It stinks when you feel like you have most of the pieces this year and they just can't put it together, because I feel like this could have, a couple games. You think about like if Michigan played like they did against Purdue, back against like a UCF or some of those like early non-conference games, they're winning those, and then it's a for sure tournament team, but those non-conference games that they lost are just going to come back to bite them in the ass, and it's not going to be, that's not the good part. So I don't know. We'll see how they do down the stretch. They've got a lot of games in a short amount of time here coming up. They've got 2 different week stretches with 3 games in 5 or 6 days. So either you can get really hot or they can pile on really quickly.
Yeah. How about that women's team though?
I was just about to bring up the women's team, top 5. Like,
Holy
I mean,
shit.
I think so. They're now ranked 5th, I believe.
I think so. Yeah.
Country. I think you have to put that in perspective. In women's basketball, there's like 4 or 5 programs that have won a national championship in like the history, or at least in the last 20 some years. Right. It's like UConn, Baylor,
Tennessee,
Stanford, and South Carolina, Tennessee. Yeah.
Yeah.
There might be, but like it's like worse parity than college football. Nobody else even competes. They go out there and have these like top 10 matchups, and then UConn will blow UConn's the number 2 team, and they blow the number 8 team out by like 30 points.
Right.
For Michigan and Kim Barnes-Arico to like make this come up and build this program up to be a top 5 team is really, really incredible.
Dude, it is. And who'd they they blew out, who was it, Indiana? That was number 5 when they played them. And they beat them by what? 17? 15, 17, something like that? It was double digits. 15. I know that. God. Like, that's awesome. Can you imagine, like, Michigan being the new UConn?
Oh, my God.
Women's basketball. KBA is just building a dynasty over there.
That'd be sick. They won by 15. They kicked the crap out of Ohio State and Columbus on last Thursday, too. So
love to see it. Season sweep.
Season sweep. I mean, it's fun. Now today we're recording this on Sunday. They play tonight against Iowa, who's ranked 21st. So pretty solid team. It's a pink out game. So I think I'm going actually. So that'll be a fun one. By the time you hear this, you might have already seen a W from them. But I will say, so I was at the game. I was at that Indiana game in Chrysler. It was rocking, seriously packed. And the student section was full down low. And it was really cool to see people show up for women's basketball just because, let's be honest, it doesn't for those lesser sports, and it just doesn't happen that often.
Yeah, they're getting the recognition they deserve right now. I'll be honest, I haven't gone to a women's game in years, but I would really like to. I'd love to go to tonight, but again, we'll be on the flight back home. We got to look at their home schedule, try to do something, get out there together.
We've only got a few games left here, but there's definitely some good ones coming up, I think.
They play MSU twice. They're home against MSU at the end of February here. Maryland will be a good one on February 20th too. Maryland's ranked in the top 20. So the cool thing though about women's basketball as well, I believe the first 2 rounds of the tournament are home games. They don't do it in the men's tournament where it's all at one spot. So I'm pretty sure that Michigan will host a couple home games for the tournament.
So are you saying Big Ten tournament or March Madness?
March Madness.
Wow, that's pretty dope. I didn't realize that.
I'm pretty sure that's how it is. So I'm imagining, the Chrysler was popping for this Indiana game. Imagine a home first or second round tournament game. That's going to be sweet.
Dude, that'd be awesome. Hell yeah.
And they could be a 1 seed. They're right now as a 2 seed. That'd be crazy if Michigan went into the tournament as a 1 seed.
Oh, I'd be so hyped.
I'm excited about that. The other girls that we got to give a shout out to is the women's gymnastics team too. Did you see what they did the other day?
Was it back to back to back perfect 10s?
Yes. I think it was 3 or 4 in a row, something like that. It was the most unbelievable thing I've ever seen. The clip I saw was the girl, it looked like the same clip over and over, but it was 3 different clips. She just did it that perfectly that you couldn't tell the difference.
So what did they get the 10s on? Was it floor or beam or?
It was the vault.
Oh, it was on the vault?
Vault.
Dude, I love the vault. Vault's fucking sick. That's my favorite. We need to go see some women's gymnastics stuff too and support them because they're killing it. Defending national champions. I mean, they're doing an amazing job. That's Bev Plocky, former OTF member as well with KBA. So, man, these women coaches that are OTF members, their teams are very, very good. Hutch, softball.
True.
Yeah.
Is that the key?
Gotta show some love. It might be. It might be. I'll tell you what, Larry Lage did give me credit for Harbaugh returning. He's like, I think your positive vibes only, manifested Harbaugh coming back.
Wow. Wow. You needed some love on the positive vibes only. You were the only person carrying that train, I think, for a while there.
100% crystal ball. I'm 1 for 1, baby.
He did sign on National Commitment Day. So.
I saw that today. I didn't even realize. I thought it was pretty funny. I think Red Cup put it up. But dude, also that Cole Cabana, running back on Dexter.
pretty
Might
good.
have to hit up some Jolly Pumpkin, head over there, grab some pizza, watch some of his games.
I guess
340.
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna say. He runs a 4.3.
Speedy guy.
I mean, that'd be sweet to have in the offense for sure.
Is he Sam McGuffey 2.0?
I'm already waiting for. I can't wait for him to come in at some point, and 100% sure the announcers are going to call him like a scrappy guy. Like he's the Julian Edelman or the Amendola already for sure.
Yeah, I'd love to see him McCaffrey.
He grew up a State fan, so it's good to see him flip
really?
there. And hopefully he can bring some of that like rivalry to the locker room. Some of those guys out of state, hype them up.
He did. He grew up a State fan, visited MSU last weekend, and then committed to Michigan this week. So
that's awesome.
Is Mel Tucker losing it? I don't know. People are talking.
Tuck leaving?
Tuck leaving?
Well, I think there was also a 4-star linebacker at Dexter who committed to State. So let's not go too far.
All right.
Well, they need as much help on defense as they can get. So we'll give them that one.
That's true. We haven't really gotten to talk about the Harbaugh situation. We talked, not between us. We obviously talked with Joel, and it was really cool to hear from the players' perspective, like how they were dealing with it, what they heard, which was basically nothing. They found out the same way that we did, but it was very, that whole thing was interesting. What I gauged from that was, I don't even think Jim Harbaugh knew what he was doing when he flew to Minnesota. Like, I truly don't think he had any type of decision made because truly, I don't think anybody knew.
I agree, man. And I know that, correct me if I'm wrong, you're pretty pissed about it, right? Like I
was frustrated.
Yeah. I mean, I was like, let me put myself in Jim's shoes. Like, he's just a guy that's, exploring his options, seeing what's available. He doesn't owe us dick. So go do what you got to do, figure it out, test the waters. And ultimately he made the right decision. So I respect it. Obviously, for him, he's got so many people looking at it, and he's got so many young kids that are, waiting on his decision. But, I'm glad he was able, he seemed transparent the entire way through and let people know what he was doing. He was still recruiting. He was still doing all the stuff for Michigan and, all that stuff. And ultimately he came back. So I hope people don't just jump off the bandwagon for him now because of that.
Yeah. I mean, I think that he was I think there's a little bit of just like media giving Harbaugh shit. You know what I mean? Like,
oh, yeah. Because it gets the clicks.
Because, I mean, like, Brian Kelly didn't say shit to any of his players. He just up and left, right? Same with Lincoln Riley. He just up and left. At least Jim was, like, out publicly exploring his options. And, like, even though nobody knew what was going to happen at the end, people knew he was out there searching. And he had, like, told people, like, I'll listen. And, and apparently, there was some very, very poor communication, maybe a little bit of ego involved, right? And Harbaugh thought he was just walking in and the job was there. And they were like, no, this is an interview, right? And he was like, oh, okay, well, then I'm done. I'm like, all right, what the hell was that?
Yeah, that whole thing was weird, where, like, it sounds like, I mean, this is what it definitely, every other fan, like, of another school, specifically Michigan State and Ohio State fans, are looking at it like Jim did not get the offer and then immediately withdrew his name to try and, like, still possibly have the upper hand in it, which I don't think is super wrong. I think it's kind of accurate.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't have a real issue with it. I just feel like Jim's just being Jim, right?
Yeah.
He thought he could walk in and walk on water a little bit, and they were like, no, you can't. You got to earn this job. And he was like, oh, all right, well, I already earned this job, so I'm going to go back to that. So
is that what people are saying?
I think, yeah. The report, I mean, it's all like kind of people trying to piece it all together. But it sounds like Jim went to Minnesota thinking that it was like formality, essentially. And they're like, no, we want to ask you a few more questions. we're also interviewing these other guys. So it's like we're still in the decision process. And he was like, okay, if you're not all in on me, then I'm not all in on you. See you later. I'm going back to Michigan.
Because reportedly there was an interview with Mitch Albom, right, from Detroit Free Press. And he was like talking to Jim on the phone, and Jim said, like, I just didn't feel like they were as enthusiastic about me as I was about them. And I know that I love Michigan and they love me. So I pretty much just went like, all right, I can go back there.
I think that's fair.
Yeah.
I mean, if I was going to a job and they didn't seem as, interested in me as I was in them, and I had another option, I'm like, man, I could be royalty here. I could go here and, maybe I've had a bad year. I'm out. I think that's fair to do. I don't think you should be criticized for that.
It's always like you think the grass is always greener type of situation, but then you think about what you do have where, and then it's, oh, okay, maybe that is the better option, what I have right now. But all in all, listen, I was frustrated for sure and kind of pissed off, but that was me being an emotional fan and irrational and thinking that like Jim owes me something or Jim
are Michigan fans emotional and erratic?
No, I don't think so. Pretty rational. But I think that all in all, like Joel said too, he's like, yeah, do I wish that he would have said some more stuff to us? Yeah. But he's like, if he tells 150 guys what his plans are, it's going to leak out like 100%. So,
right.
What can you do there? So I understand it now too.
I think one of the really cool things too is it might have been through the Mitch Albom, conversation, but I didn't get to look at it. I saw like a couple headlines, but it said like, I'm done with looking at the NFL. Like I'm locked in on Michigan now. I think that's really cool for him to like publicly say, because again, he has been so transparent and honest through his whole process where he's like, yeah, I'm doing whatever I'm doing. And for him to say that publicly, hopefully the rumors after every offseason are over at this point, and Michigan can really, build a lot of momentum off of this previous season.
Yeah. Do you believe that though? Do you actually believe that?
I think if he says it publicly, yeah, I do. Has he ever like publicly, lied about any of that kind of stuff? I don't know. Maybe he has, but I think for him to say it publicly is a big deal.
Yeah. I don't know. I do like him saying that. Do I fully believe him that if the Raiders come calling next year and they're like, hey, here's $12 million a year, he's probably going to be like, oh, maybe, he's not just going to be like, no, I'm good. But I am
maybe curious. He also has said it's not about the money for him too.
You say that until it's $12 million, I think. And then it's like, oh,
yeah.
I am curious though, what the new contract, or if there is, I believe there is a new contract with Michigan, what that contract is. I'm curious to that, when that comes out.
I'll be honest. I'd like to see his base salary go up, but keep the incentives. I think that's great. I know we talked about it last year when that came out. I would love to see every coach in the country paid that way. It just makes sense. And then schools aren't screwing themselves into, putting a whole bunch of money on a coach when, they don't perform. So I think that's, have it incentive based. I think that's awesome.
Yeah, I think, the contract definitely needs to expand the pool for like his assistant coaches as well, right? Like I think I read something that the Ohio State pool for assistant coaches is like twice as big, which is absurd.
That's
so
crazy.
I'm like, they definitely need to be able to pay assistants, and I'm sure guys like Gaddis and Mike Hart are probably a little bit frustrated too, right? They didn't know what was going on. They might have thought that they were in line for a promotion, and now all of a sudden they're like, oh, okay, well, I like my team, but I thought I could have got a little promotion here, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I definitely think that. I'm pretty sure Mel Tucker's deal was that he had like the largest assistant pool in the Big Ten too. So
wow.
I think that's important. Do you guys think that JJ getting this new NIL deal with the car dealership is part of because of the Harbaugh thing? Or was that very coincidental timing?
What do you mean?
Well, like there's all the rumors that Jim's been trying to get like a bigger NIL program at Michigan, and that was his frustration, whatever. He signs, comes back. The next couple of days, JJ announces that he has a partnership with one of the car dealerships in town.
Yeah, I think it's probably just a coincidence. I'm sure because I think Valiant and Jared Wangler and those guys, they set that up. So I'm assuming they've probably been in talks with that for a while and, trying to get that taken care of because I'm sure there's a bunch of back and forth with it. But good for JJ. That's awesome.
Great. Yeah. I mean,
I thought Blake partnered with that chocolate company or whatever.
Yeah, what, Bon something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got to meet some M&Ms on the sideline.
Yeah, Blake's got a couple now. He's got what, Outback and Bonbons?
Yeah, and Subway. He had Subway for a while.
Yeah, Subway too. Yeah,
that was a big one, like on Instagram and stuff. So I don't know. I mean, all those, the more NIL stuff that comes out, the better for recruiting for sure. Yeah, that's good. You know what I don't like about this whole Harbaugh thing though is, all right, let's say. This was now this really big deal of Harbaugh. It was a month plus of Harbaugh in the news. Is he coming back? Is he not? If he comes back now just to like go 9-3 or, then all these other fan bases are just going to clown the shit out of Michigan where it's like, oh, all that stuff with Harbaugh just to go 9-3, blah, blah, blah. Like, not that I'm saying that they will. I'm just saying if that happens, like, it's not going to be good.
I hate that you're already thinking of that.
I mean, I'm just saying, I'm throwing it out there because that will be the narrative for sure.
Yeah. I mean, same with Lincoln Riley. Goes to USC. What if they go 6-6? Yada yada. Yep. Positive vibes only though. Michigan's winning a natty next year.
There you go.
I mean, look at the schedule. We actually have a pretty good schedule to like do well. We basically have the same players on offense. Like, honestly, things look pretty good for Jim coming back. So, I mean,
yeah. And Ohio State, it's a cupcake game now. So, that used to be a tough game. Now it's all cupcakes. So.
Yeah. Well, our out of conference games are literal cupcakes, right? Everyone else is playing like Notre Dame, they're playing like Oregon and stuff like that. And we're playing like Colorado State.
So yeah. Love it.
We don't have a big non-conference game on the schedule at all, and we have 8 home games. That's crazy too.
Wow, how many did we have last year? 6, 7?
Usually we have 7.
I'll take an extra tailgate. It's awesome.
Yeah, oh, God, it's not good for our livers. I'll tell you that.
Not great.
But yeah, I don't know. I just hate putting ourselves in this situation. It's like, can we just fly under the radar for a little bit? Like, God, it was, they go 2-4, then they're the underdogs. They're the underdogs for half a season. All of a sudden it's like back on top completely. And we've got the target on our back again. I just wish that they could play the underdog card much more often.
Yeah, I mean, that was so fun last year when they were the underdog, and then they just ended up playing really well, and it was such a fun ride for all the players, fans, coaches, I'm sure, too. But now it'll be cool. I mean, hopefully they can continue that success, and, it'll be like, we have all these expectations, and for them to fulfill those and meet their goals that they're working towards will make it even more fun. It will be a continuation of last year, hopefully. So I'm pretty pumped for that, man. I'm pretty excited about it.
Jack, we had Joel on, and we were trying to ask him, would he ever retire, pump it up, and, pick a new song?
Uh-huh.
And he kind of, I don't know. He was like, I don't know. It's one of those things where you hear a song a lot. So, we only play it during certain periods. We only play it in the game or whatever. But, it have to be the right song.
Yeah.
But, how would you feel if they replace Pump It Up with something else? Would you be into it, or are you like, man, I miss Pump It Up?
I mean, I just go back to, being in Michigan Stadium, beating Ohio State, listening to Pump It Up after every touchdown. I think Joel comes back for one more year. You got to keep it for another year, unless he's like, I'm requesting something else. I mean, right. That Pump Up is just a banger.
He definitely said it would have, like Kalen said, he said it would just have to come to him as like the perfect song he hears, like that's it.
Right.
But I've gone back and forth in my head. Like, do you just hang it up in the rafters and it's that moment of Ohio State forever, right? And it can't turn sour. You go out on top with it, or do you keep it rolling? So I don't know. We've got 9 months to think about it here.
Yeah.
And Joel said we got to chill on it too, right? So like that's the other thing. You can't overdo it throughout the summer, and then it's overplayed by
loses flavor, right?
Yeah.
What we got Sparty at home next year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I mean, played after a little Sparty victory.
That would be nice.
Retired after that.
That would be nice.
Maybe Blue by 90 will commission a new song by Endor. Who knows?
Oh, we should start talking to some DJs out there for sure.
That's awesome. We know plenty of them.
Yeah. All right. We are back on here now after the news dropped of Josh Gaddis leaving Michigan to take the Miami offensive coordinator job. That's not the Miami Dolphins. That is the University of Miami. So very wild and unexpected move here. So we're hopping back on to give you our live reactions. Shocked is my first one. Just because all the Harbaugh stuff just went on, he decides to come back, and then just a couple days later, Gaddis makes this move.
And it's weird because it's a downward move. I mean, obviously, I don't know what the contract looks like. Maybe he's getting a huge pay raise, but
Where's lateral?
I wouldn't even say it's lateral because Miami's trash. Like you're
he's
going
got
from
the same position, right?
Yeah, but I mean, he has the same position, but
Miami hasn't been relevant since they played Ohio State in the national championship. In what year was that? Early 2000s,
right? And they just got a new head coach. Like, I'm just very confused by the move. Very, very confused. Because, bro, you just put a tweet out. If he had one more good year at Michigan, he'd have plenty of Power 5 offers to be a head coach somewhere.
He already was in consideration, I guess, for the Virginia job earlier this offseason, right?
Which is 100% a better job than Miami right now.
Yeah. So, I mean, I thought, I was like, all right, definite. I mean, Michigan's the safe bet for him, I thought. You have an entire offense coming back. You've got possibly J.J. McCarthy, who is an incredible talent coming back to work with. All of a sudden, you're going to make the move to go to a rebuilding with a brand new coach Miami team that has not been at the top of college football or even close to it in 15 years.
It just doesn't make sense to me. And like, I was thinking maybe if like Miami didn't just have a new head coach and he wanted to have a good year and then maybe he'd be promoted, but Cristobal just came. It's Cristobal, right? Mario Cristobal. He's the head coach of Miami. Just came from Oregon. I'm just very confused. I would love to hear some news on this when people are able to find out what happened and what the numbers look like, because at this point it just makes no sense to me.
Yeah, I would assume they just like threw the bag at him, honestly. Like
must have, I guess.
Why can't we just talked about this, about Harbaugh having a bigger assistant pool, right?
Yeah, I feel like maybe I could see where Gaddis is like just tired of the roller coaster, right? Like, I mean, he went through the same thing last year after they had a bad year, and it was fire Jim Harbaugh, right? And now it was, I'm going to the NFL, and Josh is like, all right, well, I'm kind of next in line here a little bit, and then they make him wait till the last minute. Okay, I'm back, and now he's just like, dude, hell with this, I'm going somewhere else.
I could definitely see that. Here's my take. I think that a lot of these guys probably had to have some conversations with other programs and teams in the last month and a half, right? Where it's like, they're like, hey, I don't know what's going on with Jim. Just wanted to reach out and connect and see what you guys have to offer. My guess is that happened. And then I can see you just like, all right, Mario Cristobal makes a good case for Miami. They make him a good offer. And then Gaddis is like, all right, I'll just take it even though Jim's staying. Like it just, it worked out. The offer was already on the table. Let's do it.
I guess. I think it's just so funny that the news came out that Miami was looking at him, and then 8 minutes later, he's the OC. Accepted it, right? That's just funny to me.
Yeah, I mean, it's just very strange. Because, like you said, I mean, everything was looking like, very positive at U of M going forward here. Like, why would you make a change? So I assume there's something else going on.
I'm going to go negative vibes only here.
Uh-oh.
Could there be a scandal coming through at Michigan and Gaddis wants out?
Oh no.
Yeah, don't say that.
I mean, I'm like rattling my brain. Why would this happen? Does he just hate Harbaugh? You look at all the offensive weapons he has coming back. Edwards, Corum, JJ, all those receivers. I mean, it doesn't make sense. I don't know.
I don't know about a scandal, or call it that, but I definitely think there could be some things that popped up where it's like, maybe he was pissed off because he never got approached for the head coach job at Michigan in the past, month. Like, while Jim was doing his thing and talking to all these other teams, maybe he was like never considered for that job to step in if Harbaugh were to leave. And then he's butthurt about that. I could see that too.
Yes, I saw on Twitter somebody said something about maybe the noise around Mike Hart being head coach was legitimate.
No, it was not. Get out of
here.
No.
Well, like over Gaddis.
Okay.
I
don't know. I just don't think that'd be crazy for them to jump Mike Hart from a position coach straight to head coach without any play calling experience or anything.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. But again, I'm just rattling my brain, throwing anything out there that I can. I have no idea what's happening.
So, but now that leaves Jim in a really, really weird spot, right? Now he's like, all right, now I have no OC and no DC. Like, what do I do?
Once again, all the momentum that they had is now like out the window, essentially. He's got his guys that are pumped up about having Jim back, but now they don't have their OC or DC back, so it's going to be brand new people there. Though we talked about it like with Joel. Yeah, obviously it's important to have the consistency with the head coach, but having big changes in the OC and DC are almost as important as the head coach. It's the whole way the offense is run. It's the whole way the defense is run. It's how their schemes, how are they utilizing these guys? All of a sudden their positions can change, I hate it. Now, all of a sudden it feels like you're really back to square one, starting from scratch a lot.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, at least we have talented athletes and, hopefully they can just, maybe even they can find a guy that ran a similar style to both, that McDonald and Gaddis did, and it'll just be an easy plug and play. But I mean, that's best case scenario. So I don't know. Weird.
Is there like some guys that maybe you guys think we should look at, like off the top of your head?
Joe Brady.
Hell yeah.
That's what I was thinking too.
Joe Brady and Larry Foote. Tom Brady.
Names.
Now we're talking. Yeah, Joe Brady's the QB coach at the Bills now. So like,
he just got that job a day ago. So I doubt that we're going after Joe Brady. But I mean, I don't know. I don't care if you just accept a job. If you're offered a higher up job as an OC, you're gonna go. You're gonna take that.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, there's some guys out there. I feel like that's what Jim has actually done pretty well. Is like, when there's coaching attrition, he's usually able to bring somebody in who's like pretty on top of it.
Yeah.
So.
I also wonder if, maybe we talked about having like co-D coordinators on the defensive side. Do you go Sharon Moore and Mike Hart or something like that and co-offensive coordinators? I wouldn't. I think I'd
wouldn't hate it.
Go ahead.
Wouldn't hate it, at least for now. I mean, unless you can find a guy that's the right fit. I mean, those are two guys that were here last year. They already, I'm assuming they understand what the offense was like, and they can, fill the void for the time being, unless you find, a Joe Brady or that kind of guy. So, I mean, for that, do a little interim position. Sure.
We would definitely continue to be RBU if they were co-OCs.
Yes.
Very true. Very true. Yeah, Joe. The people that we're talking about right now are about as polar opposite as possible. Mike Hart's going to run it 1,000 times. Joe Brady's trying to run a spread offense where you 2019 LSU and you just throw the ball all over the place. But I wouldn't mind either one of them. I keep erring on the side of I'd rather have somebody internal just for these consistency purposes.
Yeah.
The continuity, right?
Continuity.
Excellent.
But seriously, I mean, I would bet that Sharon Moore's probably ready for an O coordinator job. Mike Hart's going to be the hot name because people love him from his playing days, right? But Sharon Moore's got a lot more experience, I think, than Hart.
What was Hart at Indiana?
Running backs coach. Same thing.
He was running back. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if he was OC or like running backs coach, co-OC or something like that.
I don't think so.
There's so many like weird titles nowadays, like associate head coach and stuff. Like, I don't know how they're going to divvy it up.
Yeah, I don't know what it means, but hey, we just talked about. Remember, I think I just said like, oh, well, now that the Harbaugh saga is over, we can kind of rest for a little bit. Here we go. We're on a D coordinator search and an O coordinator search, and so it will be interesting over the next few months. I mean, once again, we're late in the cycle of everything, so a lot of guys have already squared up jobs and all that stuff. So I don't know, what direction you want to go in now.
I know this is a stressful time for Michigan fans, but Michigan media people are loving this streak of news that's going on.
The clicks are coming.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you think people are secured, but then you go out and you hire people who seem secure. So who knows?
Yeah.
I mean, if Jim is truly like back for the foreseeable future, he should be able to come in, make a splash, and say, "I'm here. I want you with me. Let's do this." So I agree with you, Kailen. Like, I do think he's done a good job, even when guys have moved on. He's filled those spots pretty well. I also I go back to Josh Gaddis. Like, let's be honest. At the end of 2020, we all wanted him fired.
Oh, yeah.
And then all of a sudden, he's like, this is another situation where it's like, oh my God, I can't believe we're losing him just 1 year later. So, but I felt like they just had so much momentum with everything that we've talked about with the players, with, they had one of the best offenses in the Big Ten last year. So I would think that he'd like that, but I wouldn't be surprised if something happened behind the scenes, that there was some scuffle or something, or disagreements or whatever else too.
Yeah. I'm waiting for something to come out next week.
Oh, yeah. Man. So we'll see. So we'll be on the watch then and let everybody know what's going to happen here. But I'm sure there will be now a million rumors of who's going to be the next guy. So we're back into the sources mode, the worst type of mode for Michigan social media. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens here. Jim's going to, he made his way back. Now he's going to have his work cut out for him. That's for sure.
Yep.
So. All right. Well, you can follow us at BlueBy90 on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, at Amazing Brew on YouTube as well, and on their podcast network. We appreciate you guys listening. Go Blue.
Go Blue.
Go Blue.